Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place for digital nomads, expats, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, please visit venezuelainsider.com. Why Russians are visiting Venezuela on regular basis? Let's talk about it. Всем привет! Welcome to Venezuela Insider. We are dedicating this episode to Eastern Europeans, especially Russians. Why Russians, specifically Russians, but also other Eastern European citizens, are visiting Venezuela on regular basis? Well, first we have to talk about that actually Venezuela and Russia have good political ties. So the communications and travel between Venezuela and Russia is actually pretty easy. Of course, it's far away, but we are not required tourist visas on Russia, and Russians are not required visas here in Venezuela. So it's a pretty easy travel regarding documentation. That's the first thing. Second thing, though, is that actually Venezuela has a lot of amenities that Russians don't find on their own country. Russia is not known by their beaches or their tropical fruits or their food. I mean, depending if you like Russian food, whatever might be the case, or their, let's say, hip hop music, or you name it. And of course, by the way, I like a couple Russian DJs, but that's for another day. The main point is that these Russians and other Eastern European citizens find quite entertaining and quite amusing to visit Venezuela a couple times a year, especially Margarita Island. It's one of my favorite places on the world for me, and one of the happiest places on earth. And Russians apparently agree with my thinking, my opinion, because they are coming on the thousands here to Margarita Island visiting since the past couple of years. Actually, they bring their own translators, they go to all the beaches, and they eat food, the local food, they like the experience. They say they enjoy the colors, the music, and the lifestyle here in Venezuela, and they find it amusing, and that might be your case as well. Now, the other thing that we have to talk about is a little, green conversation is, the Russian invasion to Ukraine, and of course, with this war that was awful, and I don't like the situation. Of course, I know a couple of Ukrainians. There are great people, very nice people. Same thing with Russians. Also, I like many Russian people. They're very good friends, and they are very easygoing. Actually, they're not like the Ivan Drago on Rocky Four. Like that's kind of the cartoon version of an Eastern European, and it's not the case. They're pretty fun people, very cool people to hang out. However, since the Russian invasion, many Russians had suffered the consequences. And I'm not talking about Vladimir Putin and the oligarchs and whatever. I'm talking the average citizen of Russia. They lose access to SWIFT banking, to Visa and MasterCard, and a lot of these millennial apps like Uber and Airbnb and you name it. I mean, and it sucks for them because they didn't decide to go to war. They're just average workers, average Joes over there in Russia, like you and me. They have jobs, they have careers, they have small businesses, and they just want to have a decent standard of living like you and I. And well, the thing is, Russia is being blockaded by their air routes going back and forth to other destinations. So the average Russian traveler and Russian tourist have just a small handful of options in order to travel abroad, like Thailand, Egypt, remember Tanzania, and Indonesia, and just a couple more, and a large, considerable group of Russian tourists decided, let's check out Margarita. Maybe it's nice this time of year. And they were right. Actually, Margarita is nice all year round. It's summer all year round. And decided, going, and they have pretty reasonable tourist packages. Some Russian tourists say that it's even cheaper than going from Moscow to Margarita instead of going to Sochi on the south of the Russian Federation. That is a quite expensive place for Russian standards. So they decided, what the heck, let's just get to know Margarita Island. And it's a beautiful place. Their words, not mine. Of course, also my words as well. And it's been a success for not only Russian citizens, but also for Eastern European tourists. So maybe if you're looking this from an Eastern European nation and you are tired of the winter and the cold and just want to check out the Caribbean Sea and just want to spend quite some time in warm weather, maybe Venezuela might be for you, and many Russian tourists agree. Thanks for watching the whole video. Please, if you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Follow us on other social media platforms. Thanks again. Have a nice day.